So we've got an update here on the D-Hop tour, the DeAndre Hopkins tour. So apparently, and there's a couple different layers to this. So apparently, the visit with the New England Patriots went well. DeAndre Hopkins posted a photo of him and Matthew Judon, who, by the way, under the radar,
dope football player.
One of the great signings in the last couple of years has been Matthew Judon with the Patriots.
Fair enough.
He's been even better with New England, and that was a team who was criticized for not spending money. Whatever they spent on Matthew Judon has been worth every cent because he's been fantastic since he's been in New England. And so he posts a picture of him and Matthew Judon. Apparently the meeting went well. Reports are saying that, there's no ill will between him and Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator there. So, everyone felt like it. And the Patriots, from everything I've read, they would like to sign DeAndre Hopkins, right? Clearly they would like to sign him. And his whole perspective on it is, I'll wait a little bit. There's no rush to sign. It's a couple of months before the season, about another month or so before training camp. So that's sort of where we're at. The Patriots liked him. Things apparently went well in Tennessee, but he's in no rush to sign. But neither one of those teams is on his wish list. So why would he be in a rush to sign?
Nor should they.
Yeah. But we may now know why the New England Patriots are maybe getting a little bit aggressive when it comes to DeAndre Hopkins and wanting to sign DeAndre Hopkins. So Mike Giardi, who covers the Patriots, he's been covering the Patriots for a long time reporter for the NFL Network, he pointed this out earlier in the week. So one of the notes that he had after day one of the mandatory minicamp was Juju Smith-Schuster had to be managed for the entirety of the second half of last season with the Chiefs. Practices missed, etc. That he is still dealing with physical ailments in June is concerning, especially as you take a deeper look at his injury history. Remember, he spoke on how challenging this playbook is to learn. So apparently, part of the reason why they may be interested in having DeAndre Hopkins come to New England and why they've been so aggressive about it is because Juju Smith-Schuster, who signed that 3-year deal with New England in the offseason, that also flying under the radar. There's some issues there with Juju, which would lead you to, okay, now if you tie it all together, maybe that's why they look at DeAndre Hopkins as being a potential valid piece of the season as they approach this upcoming year.
I mean, I can see why that's an approach for the Patriots. But I'm still trying to figure out how this situation is attractive to DeAndre Hopkins. If you're saying I'm trying to go play with a quarterback that I can win with, and we haven't seen that really, really pronounced with Mac Jones and with this team in New England, and what not to mention the things that we brought up about Bill O'Brien being in the mix, what does that relationship look like? Clearly, maybe that's not a factor in what's going on. I just don't know. How can you see a scenario where there's a team that's still trying to find its way post Tom Brady era, and that's where you're going to land? It has to be bottom line driven. I just think to see this take place where DeAndre Hopkins ends up being a New England Patriot on a team that does not look to be a competitive team for a Super Bowl bid, you have to be looking at it from the financial gain of it, because I don't see how that fits what he said in terms of where he would want to go and who he would want to play with, and it doesn't fit the narrative of going to a team that is competitive right now. And honestly speaking, even if Juju Smith-Schuster was healthy, does Juju Smith-Schuster and DeAndre Hopkins form a formidable enough duo to be able to become a worthy adversary of the opponents they're going to see during the year? Or do they become a better team?
I mean, I think they're a better team because it gives Mac Jones weapons. I think and also I think the addition of Bill O'Brien without the chaos that was, Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, all of whoever was calling plays last year, the whole thing was a disaster. But I do think them adding those pieces would obviously help Mac Jones. I also think if DeAndre Hopkins went and signed with New England, this would be such an indictment on DeShaun Watson, and here's why. All we kept hearing about in Houston was it's Bill O'Brien, and he's the reason DeAndre Hopkins was traded, and he had to have a sit-down with him because he was worried about losing control of the locker room, that DeAndre Hopkins had too much influence, and he talked with DeAndre Hopkins, and he told him that according to Michael Irvin, the last time he had to sit down with a player and have a conversation, it was Aaron Hernandez, which is always fun when you're compared to a guy who's a murderer. That's always fun. I mean, who doesn't like that in life? And then they trade away DeAndre Hopkins. Everybody brings out the violins for DeShaun Watson and talks about, man, Bill O'Brien did him dirty and what's going on. If all these years later, DeAndre Hopkins not only doesn't mention his close friend, Massage Watson, among the quarterbacks he would like to play with again, but then goes and signs a deal with an inferior team, as it would seem in New England, and goes and plays for Bill O'Brien, who was the villain in Houston.
Their former head coach.
I got to tell you, man, that might be the biggest indictment of DeShaun Watson all offseason. That would be a bad look.
Tell me how.
Because, wouldn't you want, if everything was so great with DeShaun Watson, why wouldn't you want to go play with him? Like, if that was so great.
See, but I don't think Massage Watson erases what Bill O'Brien said in terms of this is the type of conversation I've had to have, and this is the last person I've had to have it with.
But the narrative coming out of Houston was the problem was Bill O'Brien, not Massage Watson, and not DeAndre Hopkins.
But I think part of the problem that was being reported was that Bill O'Brien was trying to put the formerly known DeShaun Watson in a position to be a leader in the locker room, not get statistics larger than your football statistics off the field.
What are you talking about there?
I mean, he was just racking up completions. His percentage, his attempts.
Most relaxed guy in the league. What are you talking about?
I mean, 100% relaxed rating.
By the way, if he has a knot anywhere on his body the rest of his life, I got to know what happened. Like, who was working on him? Edward Scissorhands? Like, I got to know what happened. That many massages, you should have no issues and ailments the rest of your career at all, ever. But
oh man,
point
the point is one. If that is indeed the case, then I guess we'll know shortly. But I just don't see there being any type of real feeling towards Bill O'Brien if I'm DeShaun Watson. So if I'm going there and that man is going to be my coach again, either they had a conversation where Bill O'Brien kind of gave, or they've seen each other during the course of that time where Bill O'Brien was able to give some type of reasoning behind what took place, and they let, things kind of be what it's going to be. And when, if I see you around, I see you around, and they're on those type of terms. Or it's the bottom line, because it's not Mac Jones. Mac Jones has not done enough at this point to say he can go in deep waters and take this team to a NFL Super Bowl. And if you want to say it's Bill Belichick, it's been a little bit too long to just say it's Bill Belichick. Like, this team is really going to have to work to find itself back at a top of their division. They're going to have to really work to figure out how to win the way that they were winning during the Tom Brady era. So
that's a tough division to find your way back to the top, man.
There's a lot of reasons why DeAndre Hopkins – DeShaun, it's kind of the same.
That's what massage is just
massage is easier.
It's a clear divide,
and it's very, very accurate. So anyway, DeAndre Hopkins does strike me as the type of guy that A, would want to win at this point, and B, want to play with a team and with a quarterback that is superior to the ones that he's already played with, and that probably includes the Massage Watson.
And Albert Breer pointed out yesterday that this may come down to he gets through the process, and in a month or so or whatever it is, he decides, you know what, forget about the money. I want to win. Maybe I go somewhere for a year. I have a really good year with a team like Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, and then I try and do this thing all over again, which could be similar to what OBJ did in Baltimore. Felt like if I go there, this could be a place I could revitalize my career on a one-year prove-a-deal.